In this video, traders, we'll look at 6 ways to reduce trading stress. Stay tuned. Hey traders and investors, a very warm welcome to you. So trading, investing, swing trading, day trading, whatever time frame you're trading can be stressful if you don't manage the stress efficiently. Hey, listen, don't get me wrong, you are never going to be able to eliminate the stress completely from trading. It is always going to be there. But if we're operating at a level that is reasonably sensible, we will have peak performance. A little bit of stress is good. You get up to a point like I think it's a chart like this pretty much. You know, as stress increases, you know, your performance increases, then all of a sudden it starts to drop right off. There's that peak area where, you know, as stress starts to increase past a certain point, then you just fall off a cliff. So you need to stay in that sweet spot zone. Anyway, that's not what the video is about. The video is about 6 actionable steps we can take to reduce trading stress. Number 1, take sensible risk. It's the biggest, most obvious one, but often one we ignore. You know, we want to trade to make money. We want to make as much money as possible. So what do? We dial up the risk. We dial up the position size. We take on multiple positions. That is a key to giving you too much stress and getting you in that point. You don't want that. Dial down the risk. There will always be opportunities there. There's no need to play so big that it's going to worry you, concern you, stress you out, because you'll get into that zone there and you'll make poor decisions. Stretch yourself. Make your trades bigger over time. Stretch that position size if you're in that phase of your trading, by all means, but just jumping straight into massive position size is a great way of 1, increasing the stress, and 2, as I've done a video on before, it changes the part of your brain that makes the decision for you. So you go from the sensible part, if I'm not really the scientific word, but you get the point, to kind of the irrational panic part. And of course, you can never make a good decision like that. So just physiologically, it makes no sense to trigger that emotion in you. So reduce your position size, take sensible risk, or risk that's kind of in alignment with your goals and what have you. So number 2, set realistic goals. Now, I'm a little bit cautious with this because what I don't want you to think is all realistic, like, oh, you're never going to make loads of money in trading or whatever it may be. What I mean by realistic is stuff that you can do. You can't go into the day and say, you know what, I'm going to make 10 grand today trading. It's just a pointless goal because you can't control that. What you can control, is what I say ones you can control, is you can say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take X number of trades today. I'm going to be on form. I'm going to do my preparation. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, and have those as goals. And the process goals should over time result in the financial goals. It's very hard to go into the day and say, I'm going to force this on it. And actually, you've got stories of people who try to force profitable days, almost got there, and they've got like 50 quid short or something, and they tried to push and they've given it all back. You know, if you have process goals that will align with your overall financial goal, that is something you can control. Hey, I want to prepare myself before the trading day. I want to make sure I eat right. I want to make sure I execute my strategy correctly. I want to make sure I pull my trigger. I want to do all the things that I know I'm trying to do to improve as a trader. Stick those down and do those. And if you do those over time, then the financial stuff will come. Maybe you can have a longer goal, but I'm talking about day-to-day reducing that stress on you. What you don't want is to come in and say, hey, I want to make £10,000 today, £1,000, 100, whatever it may be, and then be stressed about it because you've got a couple of losing trades and you're down and you think, oh, I've got to get it all back. You're putting yourself in the wrong mindset, and that's going to just create more stress and stick you in that stressful zone. All right, number 3, prepare for each trading session. Kind of alluded to that really in 2, didn't I? But this will relieve a lot of stress. I'm prepared. I know what the market is going to do in terms of levels it might test, or I know, you know, what the conditions are, what the economic data is coming out, what time of day, or, you know, where I'm trading best. Just preparation, the daily prep. We've done a video on checklists before, you know, things you should do. And really all it does is give you confidence as well. Even if there's no real objective use to that, you will get confidence and it will reduce your stress when you go into the trading day. Number 4, accept loss and accept risk. This is a big one and often one that's overlooked. Losses are going to happen. You cannot avoid them. The only option you have is to be comfortable with loss and be comfortable with risk. If you're not comfortable with this, we go back to 1 and say you're taking on too much risk. We've said this before. I've said this before. You've heard other traders say this before. Would you be bothered if the total risk on the trade was 10p or 10 cents? You couldn't care less. Now say, would you be bothered if the total risk or total trade was 10 million? Probably, I would say 99.9% of viewers are going to say, yes, I am bothered. So somewhere between the two is where you accept it and are unbothered by it. You just got to find your point, wherever that is. You know, whether that's £10, £100, £1,000, you get the idea. You find the area where you're comfortable with the risk and you can accept the loss and the risk and trade without stress. Now, of course, we want to stretch it. There's no point in being meaningless or making no money, but there's a sweet spot somewhere. And again, I've talked about that before, but taking the sensible risk and accepting the risk. Okay. Number 5, guys, working within your limits. Again, I'm a little bit cautious about saying this because, hey, no one's ever going to improve if you don't stretch. You've got to stretch yourself. You've got to move out of the comfort zone, to use the cliche thing, but you get the point. You need to work within the limits that you have. In other words, hey, I can only operate during these hours of the day because of other commitments. I have this much capital. Those are limits, and there's nothing to say, hey, I can't achieve as much as I can within that and stretch without that. But let's say you have got constraints. You're not going to make £1 million in a week with a 10 grand account. You're not going to be able to trade 1,000 times when you've got an hour. You get the point. Extreme examples, but stretch yourself, but stretch yourself slowly. Improve your performance slowly. Don't give yourself so much pressure, like this number 2, very, very similar. Don't give yourself so much pressure of doing something that's probably unlikely to happen on day 1. Yes, get to that over multiple days, multiple years, but you know, stretch yourself a little bit at a time to reduce the stress you've got on you to keep yourself in that peak performance zone. Number 6, final one, trade, don't gamble. Many people are looking at trading or involved in trading for the excitement. If you're involved in trading for the excitement, fine, that's all very well, and you know, people can doing trading, whatever. Don't expect to make long-term profits from it. If you're here just to enjoy the ride, then that's cool by me. Don't expect to enjoy, don't expect to have long-term profits and success from a gambling attitude. But the trouble is, guys, sometimes people flip between the two. They want to make a success out of it, but then they flip into gambling mode. Then they feel bad about flipping into gambling mode and trading with no strategy. And then they feel, you know, they did worse trades and this and that, and they flip-flop, and it's just no good. Just say to yourself, make the decision, hey, you know what? I'm going to trade, I'm not going to gamble. And I mean gambling as in trading without a strategy. We can go into the argument of trading gambling as another day. But you know what I mean, trading without a strategy. Just say, you know what, I'm only going to trade when my strategy is triggered. That's it. Make the decision to do it and stick to it. Okay, guys, 6 strategies or ways to reduce trading stress. Stick yours in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.